Welcome to the Rustic Garden Homestead. Today I want to go over the plants you can still direct seed in your garden for your fall garden, September, October. The first frost date here in Maryland, I'm in Maryland Zone 7, is towards the end of October, beginning of November. These are plants we can direct seed now. They're going to take off, germinate because it's still warm, and they can take that light to medium frost. You really want to get these in before heavy frost comes to your area, and a heavy frost generally is when the ground freezes from the frost, and it's a prolonged period, many hours through the night or even during the day. So we're looking for crops you can plant now. They can take that light frost, that medium frost. I'll put all the planting information in the video as we go over each crop. I planted these about 9 days, 10 days ago, so I'm going to show you germination and go over the seeds. You still have plenty of time to put into your garden right now. A couple things to keep in mind is when I talk about germination, they germinate much more quickly right now because the soil is warm, the air temperature is warm. So when you plant in the spring, the reason we do a lot of stuff indoors or they take a long time to germinate is because the ground is cold. Everything that I'm going to show you today germinated really in 5 to 8 days. These are radishes that went in on 9/1. Today is the 10th, and they're beautiful. Spacing generally about 1 inch apart, 1 or 2 seeds per hole, thin them as you wish, and then maybe 2 inches in between. 2.5 centimeters, 5 centimeters right in here. I will put, again, that information in the video so you don't have to kind of listen to everything. You can kind of just watch what I'm planting. So my first wave of radishes went in. Now that these are up, I'll wait, I don't know, maybe 5 or 7 days and then put in some more radishes. So radishes you want to plant in succession, but they are definitely plants you can get in now. I've been planting my fall garden over the last really 60 days. Different crops have gone in. Crops like broccoli, peas, which you see right there, cauliflower, Brussels. It's a little bit too late to put them in as seeds right now. They're just not going to have enough time. Like I was saying, my first frost really isn't until the end of October, and that's the light frosts, the medium frosts. Everything that I'm planting today will mature nicely during that time span. When the ground gets really cold or frozen, the plants stop growing, things slow down. So I don't really have enough time for those plants that I just mentioned. So radish is definitely good to go. I've put in lettuce already. I've put in my peas already. If you put peas in now, they're going to sprout, they're going to grow, but they probably won't form nice pea pods because the temperatures here in Maryland are going to freeze the pea pods. They're not going to be great. However, you can eat all these delicious tendrils. They taste like peas. So theoretically, you could put some peas in now, see how it goes. If you're in doubt and you're not sure if you have enough time for certain crops to make it, still plant them, take notes, and then next year you can adjust accordingly. These are lettuce transplants that I put in a couple weeks ago. They're doing really well, but now is a great time to put your lettuce in also. What's really important is that throughout the end of summer, you plant some of your different cool weather crops and just see if they make it to maturity, because you're not going to know until you kind of test it out in your garden. All gardens vary, even if we're in the same zone. So these carrots went in on June 30th, basically July 1st. They are going to be ready before the heavy freeze comes, freezes the ground. I'm going to get some nice carrots out of there. And that was an experiment. They actually germinated very slowly because they don't like the heat. I had them covered. There were actually sunflowers here, kept the ground cooler. They did okay. So getting back to what this video is all about is what you can direct seed. So this is pak choi, the Chinese cabbage. And if you plant this too early, like if I planted this back in July or August, it tends to bolt. It grows very quickly, it germinates fast, and you only want, 1 seed per. You get so many pak choi seeds. These are a little bit older, so I put in a lot. You want to drop in 2 or 3 seeds, thin them down to just 1 plant when they're about this size. I'll let these grow a little bit longer, then I'm going to thin them down. And another tip is that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pak choi plants. I'm never going to eat all of this at once. So don't overplant. Don't put in so many different vegetables that when they all mature at the same time, you're not able to eat them. Extra plants that you don't harvest, don't really take the leaves from like your kales and stuff like that. Plants that sit around, they just tend to breed more disease and they bring in insects. You want to be able to eat through your crops. That helps actually manage insects and manage diseases. The next crop we have in here is Kohlrabi. Again, put in on 9-1, and you get tons of seeds. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. These may not mature in time. I think they will. Here in Maryland, from September 1st all the way, I'm looking to about mid-November, 3rd week of November. That gives me a good 4 weeks, 8 weeks, about 10 weeks of growing time. So a lot of these crops are going to make it. You're really targeting plants that are going to mature within 70 days here in Maryland. Again, it's not the frost, it's not the light frost, medium frost, it's the heavy ground freezes that come in that slow the plants down and they just stop growing. But the kohlrabi looks good. I'm going to thin these down to 1 plant per. Even if they don't totally form, I'll be able to eat the leaves. They taste just like kale and collards. This is really cool. These are Detroit Supreme beets. They've all popped in 9 days. Beets tend to like the cooler soil temperatures, which really means is like when you're starting your fall garden, if you're planting later July, early August, sometimes the soil is too warm and your seeds don't want to germinate. You know, it's backwards. When the ground is cold, you think, okay, it's too cold, they don't want to germinate. Sometimes when the ground temperatures are too warm, that top 1 inch, 2.5, 5 centimeters, 1 inch, 2 inches of soil, the plants don't germinate. So if you plant these earlier and you have 85-degree days, 90-degree days, they may not germinate. So put some shade cloth over there. But we have pak choi, we have kohlrabi, and we have beets. Perfect to direct seed right now in your garden. So in this bed, I have some more pak choi. These actually went in on the 2nd, but you can see, you know, germinated nicely. Went in on the 2nd. This is a crispy crunch radishes. Love radishes. Arugula does really well. And, you know, you want to give them some space because those plants will actually get a good foot, 2 feet tall. So they're going to get thinned down to 1 plant. You know, I always like planting multiple seeds, especially if they're older seeds from a couple years ago, just so that I'm not waiting around for them to germinate. So as I was planting, I added in some quality topsoil, but anytime you add in topsoil, you can see all the weed seeds that are starting to pop up. So in this space are carrots that went in on September 2nd, and there's a little one right there coming up, and there are more popping up right in there in the center of the screen. I think I have enough time for the carrots, but again, I'm experimenting. They went in on September 2nd. Should be enough. They can take the frost, they can take the ground freeze. It's just when that really cold temperature comes and the days are staying in the 40s, your plants stop growing. So you're really looking for, you know, prolonged day warmth so that the soil isn't frozen, of course, but so that the plants get enough warmth, 50 degrees, 60 degrees during the day, and continue to grow. And again, I'll put all this up, you know, in the video so that we can convert to Celsius and Fahrenheit and also just talk about spacing. But these are wonderful plants to direct seed now. On a side note, these are tomatoes that I planted on June 30th as an experiment. They're determinate variety. They're doing really well. They're even starting to form tomatoes. This is a Roma type right in there. They should be fine before my frost rolls in, that I will get, you know, tomatoes. So tomatoes don't just have to be planted here, you know, end of April, May 1st. These are purple top turnips, going to be thinned down to 1 plant per, and I'm just doing it along this edge. Sometimes when you're doing your fall garden now, you've got your warm weather crops going. So just go ahead, you know, and carve out a space, and this is plenty. Purple top turnips all the way down. They went in on 9-1. Another green that I love is Endive, and you can see the spacing for them is like, you know, 8 inches or something like that. I want them to grow to full size. If I'm growing leafy greens or I'm harvesting anything when it's not fully mature, I do put them more closely together. You can plant your fall garden in containers. I've got radishes over there. Those are white icicles. They kind of grow like carrots. They're going to get 4 inches, 5 inches long. So putting them in a container works really well because the soil is nice and loose. General spacing, not all of these actually came up, but it's about 1 inch apart, 2.5 inches apart. And I will actually thin these down to just 1 radish per planting hole. And you can see the white icicle spacing, you know, a little bit. In this root pouch, and I sell all of these at my seed and garden shop. They're at a good price if you want to do some container gardening. Spinach popped already, looks beautiful. Cool thing about spinach here in Maryland is it can handle there's a cucumber actually that popped up on its own back there. We'll see what that does. Maybe it produces, who knows. Experiment, plant some things at different times, see how they go in your garden. Spinach will overwinter, so please subscribe, follow me. I'll be talking about plants that you can plant in November. You can protect them, you can grow them through the coldest parts of your season. And a lot of what I'm talking about today are plants that will do good in a cold frame, or they will do well if you just protect them with some plastic. You can extend the growing season. So we have spinach that went in, that looks great. I don't know, I probably spaced that about 4 inches, 10 centimeters. And then I've got Bib lettuce, little Caesar in there, and you can see that the Bib lettuce is coming up. And I'm growing all of these to get to full size. So they'll be thinned down to just 1 plant per hole. The little Caesar's not up yet. Lettuce tends to take the longest out of the group of plants that I'm showing you now. Dropped in some different spinach into the fabric pots, and they're doing pretty well. I'm really setting up my fall garden now. I planted some stuff in August. Even though I'm a little bit burned out, I'm cleaning up my garden now, getting rid of a lot of the warm crops. I definitely am going to want these cool crops come later September, October, and even November. So try and get them into a space now. I think you'll be surprised at how well or how quickly they germinate and how well they do in the fall. Here are some more plants that went in as transplants. You can still direct seed your red leaf lettuces and Swiss chard. Swiss chard can really take the cold nicely. These just happen to be transplants because I can't help but buy them. So anytime I'm out at a store, if there's a good deal, I do buy transplants. And I also like planting this way because these are all going to mature first. I'll be able to harvest them, you know, use them, of course. Then the seeds that I just put in that I'm showing you, after these are gone, those will be maturing. So I get an extended harvest period of lettuces by doing a combination of direct seeding now in September and even October, and putting in some transplants early September, middle of August. Here are some of the transplants that I purchased. A little bit beat up. They were, actually I left them out and a deer came and chewed them down. So they've just been all coming back here. Some of them I'll be able to keep. There's cauliflower in there and different things. They may not make it, like I said, but you can eat the leaves. So again, experiment. I've got some spinach clumps right in there. These aren't going to be grown to be, you know, fully mature size. I'll be just cutting them as I need them. Some cauliflower transplants in there being treated for the cabbage worm. Some romaine lettuce. And then right in here is a space where I'm growing more spinach. Spaced out nicely so that I can just grow these to bigger size. But spinach again makes it through my Decembers and Januaries here. It's not gonna grow that I can harvest it, but it's gonna survive. So some of this I'm gonna leave. The plants will kind of fumble their way through December, late December, January, and February, and then come March they take off, and these are the first greens that I can harvest from my garden. But definitely plant your spinach now. I just built these beds. Please follow me. I'm gonna be redesigning this whole garden this winter and early spring. But I like the beds with 12-inch sides, 2 feet across. You can plant just about anything in there. I will link that video in the video description. This is a perfect build to add to your garden. Now, I bought these as transplants, bought the 6-pack, you know, 6 cells, and the cells were like this. They were overseeded. It was a company that doesn't know what they're doing. And in there had to be, in like one cell, like 10, 15 seeds. So what I did is I popped them out, and they all germinated, and they looked fine, but they're overcrowded. I just tore them right down the middle. Some of them did better, but enough of these are going to survive that I took that 6-pack, tore them down the middle, made 12 plugs, just dropped them in there, and I'll just let these grow. And when they get to a, you know, certain size, I'll cut them and use them. I don't recommend growing it this way, but you know, whoever packed those seeds just didn't do it the right way. I have cabbage in that went in as transplants. That should make it here because I started them just like this. If you want to grow cabbage, pak choi, bok choy does really well. Any of the Asian cabbages grow really fast. And one more thing I want to add that I am not growing right now, I haven't seeded yet, but any mustard green can be direct seeded now. It's going to grow really, really well. And in the cold weather, the mustard greens still have that spicy taste to it, but they're just delicious. They're just not as pungent. I want to show you this bed because these were all put in on September 3rd. So it's only been 7 days really. And look how beautiful these tomatoes are. Every tomato plant here, and there's only 3 of them, they're just going crazy. These grow out of my compost pile. I don't take care of them, I don't feed them, I don't spray them, and they're just beautiful cherry tomatoes. I call them the rusted garden compost tomatoes, but I think they're Matt's Wild Cherry. Anyway, no care, they're just doing beautifully well. I had to cut them back to get this space back. So 7 days from direct seeding with the warmth of the soil, the day temperature, spinach is already up, radishes are already up. The little Caesar here has already germinated. Over in the other place it has not. I don't know why, sometimes that happens. The beets are up and we are waiting for Merlot red lettuce. I don't see any of that coming up yet, but I like growing the red leafy lettuces. Just another tip, red leaf lettuces seem to be less bothered by snails and slugs in my garden. You know, if you have nothing available, they're going to eat that, of course, but they tend to go after the green lettuces more than the red lettuces. But this is just 7 days after direct seeding, and these plants are doing really well. And that's why I recommend direct seeding everything I'm covering today, because they germinate quickly in the warmth of late summer, early fall. They grow really fast and they like the cool temperatures and can take that frost, light frost to medium frost. I also have kale and collards that I put in as transplants, but you can direct seed just about any kale variety right now, any kale plant. And when I touched this, actually, a whitefly flew off of there. You have to be very careful when you are growing fall crops late summer, early fall, because there's a lot of insect pressure. So keep a close eye on them, treat them early on, keep off the whiteflies, any caterpillars, anything that come along. And then as the temperatures drop and the life cycle of these pests go away, the crops do really, really well. But because you're in a warmer soil, warmer days, the insects are alive and thriving, you really have to keep an eye on them. And this is, again, one of those beds that I just built if you want to check out the video description. And you can see all the lettuce that I have growing in here. But kale, collards, you can direct seed right now. Experiment too with how you grow your fall garden. So that Swiss chard right in the middle, surrounded by some different red loose leaf lettuces. That's a 22-gallon container. I don't know how to convert that to liters. Not too deep, but perfect for growing these plants, especially into the fall. Watering is going to be less of an issue as it begins to cool down. Final tip that is really, really important is that if you put in transplants, they only have these little tiny root balls because that's how they were grown in the seed cells. And then when you drop them into the ground, let's just say, you know, the root ball is only like that. Even if the rest of the soil is wet, the sun hits the leaves, the roots pull in the water. They can only pull water in from where the roots reach. So make sure you water your transplants every day, if not every other day, for a good 10 to 14 days until the roots spread out and can access the water. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they put in the transplants, they water everything, they water this, you know, big raised bed. They think there's plenty of water in there. The truth is that the root ball is all right in that space. So only the water in this space can be accessed by the plant. Everything out over here is irrelevant until the roots spread out there. So water these every day, every other day for a good 10 to 14 days. Make sure the transplants get established. Same thing for your direct seeded crops. They look great, but they only have a root that goes straight down, so they are getting moisture a little bit deeper. But we've been getting temperatures where the days get to 85 degrees, full sun, and it can dry out. The sun can dry out that soil very quickly, that top inch, 2 inches, 2.5, 5 centimeters, very quickly. And you could end up losing your germinated seeds because they just don't have enough water. That extraordinarily warm day or a consecutive day of 85 degrees and you don't water them, it's gonna hinder the growth of the plants, if not kill them off. So you really do want to water these every day, every other day. Make sure they have the moisture they need. That's going to accelerate their growth. Keeping the moisture there is the only way, one, they survive, of course, but it's how they pull in nutrients from the soil. So if they don't have enough moisture, they can just kind of hang out there and survive, but they're not going to be really accelerating in growth. And one of the goals is to get these planted now, use the warmth of the soil, use the warmth of the day to get them germinated, get them thriving, get them growing more quickly. They enjoy the cool nights, then the warmth comes back during the day, and these really take off. And that's how you can really direct seed everything I talked about now and still be able to harvest these crops. Next on my list is to plant up my vertical towers from Greenstalk Garden with the cool weather crops. I'll be showing you how to do that if you want to follow me. As for the soil, setting up the soil, if you have compost or something you want to mix it in there, that's fine. Truth being is that everything that you put into your garden this summer is going to have enough nutrients to really take care of everything you're direct seeding for your fall garden. So you don't have to do a lot. Loosen up the soil, weed it out, amend it, if you have compost or whatever, but don't spend a lot of money taking care of it. Once these are up and growing, they get to maybe 2 inches, 10 centimeters, a little bit more, just hit them with any water-soluble fertilizer. That's going to give them nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium that can be used right away. That will get them growing, and they're going to do really, really well. You don't have to overthink amending the soil. Thanks so much for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com. I sell tomato and pepper seeds for $1.75 a pack. All other seeds are only $1.50 a pack. And again, please subscribe. I'll show you how all these cool weather crops do, show you how to harvest, take care of them, and we're going to keep planting all the way through November with garlic and then setting up some plants to grow in cold frames. Again, thanks so much for watching.